Rich Loof was the keynote speaker at the American Academy of Pediatrics in October of this past year, 10, giving his message. And we sweated a little bit ahead of time. And again, back to that, what does the research show? And it's promising, but yet, is nature the key, or is it just being outdoors? Is it just being active? You know, what are those key pieces? And again, the message was not only well received, standing ovations, a line just, I don't know, hundreds long to get his book. And as this physician said, the message resonated with me personally. And so one of the things that I want to say in terms of engaging the health community is they're people too. You know, this is a message that gets to the heart of who we are and who everyone is. And so it resonates well, and we're just making huge inroads with American Academy of Pediatrics. The site, our website, has a section on Grow Outside, and it's tools and resources for pediatricians. But even more exciting than that, I think, is the new obesity section that is growing out of the American Academy of Pediatrics. So we're in phone calls with them every couple of weeks. They're just forming this obesity section. They're going to have the Children in Nature Network, a representative, as an official member on their advisory panel. And we're looking at things like videos in waiting rooms and grants for these health initiatives. Play 60, anybody familiar with Play 60 out of the NFL? Going to be talking with them about, and that would again be a partnership with Children in Nature and American Academy of Pediatrics and NFL. We're looking at co-branding with some of their initiatives. One of them is 5210. Anybody heard of that one? Okay, so there's one. These look at their brands and their campaigns. 5210, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. Limit screen time to 2 hours. 1 hour of outdoor play. 0 soft drinks in a day. We can, and what I'm going to do is take 5210 and put that on my map of where to go and where to play locally, with 50 fun ways to get kids hooked on the outdoors. Do I think that I'm going to have a shot at having those doctor's offices putting those out? Yeah, because I'm going to have some of their campaign stuff on those materials. One other thing is the Natural Leaders Network, and we talked a little bit about diversity, and I have never seen diversity in a room in our realm of environment and community education until I got into the Natural Leaders Network. Those kids represent the broadest sector that I've ever seen that had interest in the outdoors, and I highly encourage you to look into this and support Natural Leaders efforts. They have a Let's Go coming in place, and that is the month of April, and it's again opportunities to have events and get kids outdoors and do service projects and all these other pieces. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening, but I'm just going to conclude with this, and that is the importance of our partnerships and our policy actions and practice, but more than anything, it's promise. So if we're going to engage parents and we're going to engage the healthcare community, we better deliver on our promises, and that's at the local level, so that kids get to do these fun things that they want to be doing outdoors. And so are we supporting our frontline folks in offering these kinds of opportunities where we're going to take that fear and turn it to fun? We're going to take fitness through fun, and we're going to get to those kids that want to be healthier, happier, and smarter. But we do it in our partnerships, and we support. We support partnerships and policy, practice, and we fulfill our promises. So with that, that's a little bit about the Children in Nature Network and what's going on there. So.
Unfortunately, Dr. Sanchez had to run, but I think we were able to pummel him with some questions quickly. And I'm sure that actually generated some other questions, which perhaps I can help address as well. But does anyone have any questions right off the bat? Yeah.
I'd like to hear your thoughts around linking is in that business. And so I'm interested in your thoughts about linking these things and the possibility of linking the idea of service, especially where these other programs are considered, with health.
Sure. Nancy, do you have any thoughts on that?
You can start.
So, the issue of volunteerism is something we looked at 7 years ago at the CDC, and a fellow researcher, John LeBret, actually was at the CDC in the physical activity branch. Since that time, he left to become a director of something in Utah, a nonprofit in Utah. But he did a pretty important study to determine the physical activity levels of volunteers, particularly among seniors, as they volunteered in the outdoors. They found that there was almost a 4 times greater physical activity impact when people volunteer outdoors. And the interesting thing associated with that is they didn't realize that they were doing anything physical at the time. So it tells a lot about this mental health and emotional connection to the outside. And what better way to get physical activity than when you don't realize you're getting it, at least from my perspective. And Mauro Sanchez can run around and do all those things. That's really not my gig to sort of run around. But with regard to that, though, these connections with volunteerism is a very important aspect that I don't think we have spent enough time from the healthcare perspective looking at. Because since that study, we really haven't done a whole lot more. David Wong put out a study in recently American Journal of Public Health that talked about outdoor types of trail restoration, things like that, that have physical activity associated with them. But it's been a real hard sell from the healthcare community to say, if we're linking aspects of activity, the medical community, service and volunteerism, we need to work a little bit more on drawing those lines. Right now it's a dotted line, right? And Dr. Crumpler may be able to help us fill in the dots on those lines that connect service volunteerism back to something meaningful for physicians to prescribe. Okay.
I think it's a really perceptive comment. I'm kind of slow on the uptake. And I used to believe that volunteerism was all about leveraging something to get something achieved. Then I looked at what people got out of recreation activities. And I looked at what people got out of volunteer activities. And I found they were the same. And it dawned on me after a while, volunteerism is a recreational activity. I mean, they get the same benefits as they do. So it is per se on its own merits worthy of our investment in as any other recreational activity. And another point I'd like to make is this one. From 40 years of leisure research, one of the things we have learned is that you are what you were yesterday. In other words, the importance we're seeing on children is so critical because we know that if you do not pick up a leisure activity by the time you leave college at 21, 22, the odds are you never do it. There are occasional exceptions, but for the most part, your leisure skills are laid down before you leave college. And so, if you look at who my generation is, I'm a war baby. I'm the first generation that's partially leisurely literate. So I've come through doing some leisure activities. I look at my children who are in their 30s. They're incredibly leisurely literate. They've done 1,001 things. And so as they move up to be seniors, they're going to be a whole different crew from the seniors you've got now. They're going to be much more demanding in their leisure activities. Now I look at my grandchildren, and that's a problem. Because we're not laying down the kind of basis that we've heard. And if we don't do it, and what was so encouraging to me about the boating data was that we were getting people in fishing and boating and doing those things young, and they weren't dropping out as young teenagers, which I found incredibly encouraging. And that's why it's so important we put emphasis on children.
I would like to add one thing in terms of the volunteerism, and that is that people will volunteer for a cause for a short period of time. They'll volunteer for you forever if you have a good relationship. So that would be one caveat in looking at the volunteer pool. I could not agree more in terms of making it pervasive and cultural change, because folks, that's what we're really talking about, is cultural change and how to affect that. But you need that care and feeding of your volunteers. So I would just add that.
One of the things you mentioned just in passing was the fear of the outdoors. And I've run into that a lot. And we do great with people who are already out there. And a lot of what we consider success is that group. But there is a whole other group, and I'm thinking of single mothers and inner city people who absolutely fear that their child is going to be stolen away or fall into the river all kinds of things. Okay, that's one thing. Then the other thing we're talking about is kind of a bountiful supply of volunteers, potentially, who enjoy the outdoors. And is there a way to set up getting around pedophile problems and things like that? Essentially a docent to the outdoors. I've worked as a docent in areas, and it's an amazing relationship that you can do in a 4-hour, 2-hour walk, and you don't make it so structured as simply enjoying the outdoors. I just wonder if there isn't a way, and your programs sound like you're near it, to merge those two things. Because man, there is a bunch of people out there who are deathly afraid of being off the pavement.
I'll give you 2 examples. Thank you, very good question. Are you in politics? Maybe I shouldn't.
Hardly.
That fear of the outdoors, I'll give you one example, Texas Outdoor Families, and I know there are other states that are doing this now too, just as a program called Outdoor Woman came about, introducing those skills to folks who are not used to being outside. And no one wants to go out and look like a dummy in front of their kids and have the tent fall apart and the kids are screaming or they're I'm bored or this or that. We have weekend workshops. And the family learns together how to pitch the tent, how to grill, how to do this. And part of that is a taped sounds of the night. What to expect you're going to hear during the nighttime so you don't freak out, because that's the reality. You know, if it was a screeching car wheels or whatever, that was normal, but some of those other sounds are very unnerving. The other, in terms of the docents and the volunteerism, is like, for example, master naturalists, similar to master gardeners, where these, again, across the state, these folks who have said, not only have we learned about the outdoors, but we pledge 40 hours at least of service that we're going to give back. And they will show up at events. They'll help teach things. Texas Forest Service did something great called this Nature Challenge, Mission Possible Nature Challenge. And the families take this trip around to different locations around their local area to discover different places. But getting back to your question about capacity and volunteerism, these missions that the families have to do are on a piece of paper that's at the front desk. There's nobody that's holding a special event because we don't have capacity to do that. There's no one that's taking them by the hand. But they're having these fun challenges. They have something to do. And our young parents and our kids expect fun. They're used to having delivery of fun. They're not, that more instant gratification is very clear to them. And so this gives them something very specific to do. It is fun. They keep a journal. Wonderful things have come out of that, and kudos to the Forest Service for working on that. But yeah, I absolutely agree. There's the using those volunteers, and they're in those baby steps. And whether it's health and taking a walk outdoors or the sounds of the night, we need to know that we're going to be coaching a lot in baby steps.